What if I told you the future of trucking arrived 50 years ago, then vanished? The 1970s birthed pickups with turbo diesel power, revolutionary four-wheel drive systems, and cab designs that wouldn't resurface for decades. These weren't concept trucks, they were production models you could buy at dealerships. While the world was stuck in neutral, these 10 machines were shifting into overdrive. Most failed commercially. All changed everything. Here are the trucks that were simply too ahead of their time. Number 1. Kenworth K100 Aerodyne. The Kenworth K100 Aerodyne debuted in the late 1970s as one of the most futuristic cabover trucks ever built. This wasn't just a redesigned cab. It was a revolution in long-haul comfort, aerodynamics, and driver lifestyle. At a time when most cabover trucks were noisy, cramped, and extremely uncomfortable on long drives, Kenworth took a bold step by introducing the Aerodyne sleeper with its iconic dual skylight windows. This made it the first truly premium sleeper cabover in America, something more suited to a luxurious highway lifestyle rather than the purely functional designs of the era. But the problem was timing. The trucking industry in the 70s was conservative, and most fleets did not want to spend extra money for driver comfort or aerodynamics. The Aerodyne was also more expensive to produce, had complex structural changes, and required more maintenance. As beautiful as it was, the design was too good for an era when companies prioritized cheap, rugged machines over comfort-focused innovations. Many drivers loved it, but the fleets paying the bills were hesitant. Another issue was the upcoming shift in the 80s toward conventional trucks after regulations changed, making cabovers less necessary. The Aerodyne was built for a world where length laws restricted long-nose conventionals, but by the time its innovations matured, the industry had already begun moving away from the cabover style. Despite being a technological marvel, the Aerodyne's futuristic approach was simply ahead of its time. Number 2. International Transtar 2 CO4070B. The International Transtar 2 was a highly advanced evolution of the earlier CORT70 series, and by the late 1970s, it had become one of the most sophisticated cabovers ever developed. International introduced improved aerodynamics, a redesigned interior, and advanced driver comfort systems that were rare for the decade. The truck featured better noise insulation, upgraded climate control, and a more ergonomic dashboard, all things that modern drivers expect today, but that were considered luxury extras back then. The Transtar 2 was also ahead of its time mechanically. Many models came equipped with more powerful turbocharged diesel engines, and International offered options for better fuel efficiency during a period when fuel economy was not taken as seriously as it is today. Ironically, just as International pushed toward innovation, the 1973 oil crisis hit, making fuel efficiency extremely important. But the trucking industry's finances were too strained for fleets to invest in expensive new designs. Maintenance complexity was another issue. The Transtar 2 had features that mechanics were not used to servicing, and many small fleets preferred simpler machines that were easier to repair on the roadside. Even though the truck promised better long-term savings, the upfront learning curve scared buyers away. The Transtar 2 hinted at what future cabovers could be, but it arrived during a decade that demanded cost-cutting instead of innovation. Its brilliance was overshadowed by timing and economic pressure. Number 3. Mack Cruise Liner. The Mack Cruise Liner, launched in the mid-1970s, was an ambitious attempt by Mack to redefine the cabover. It introduced a more spacious sleeper, upgraded suspension, better interior ergonomics, and a strikingly modern squared-off design. Mack also attempted to push the limits of technology by offering advanced engine options such as the Aerodine, which delivered strong performance at lower RPMs, something decades ahead of the torque-based engine philosophy used in modern trucks. The cruise liner was particularly advanced in the cab structure. It aimed to reduce driver fatigue, minimize vibration, and improve safety, priorities that only became mainstream after the 1990s. Back then, however, trucking companies saw these features as unnecessary luxuries. Fleets focused on durability and simple mechanical systems. And while the cruise liner certainly was tough, its sophistication meant higher purchase prices and more complex repairs. Another issue was the shift in trucking regulations. Like many advanced cabovers, the cruise liner was designed for a world where length restrictions forced manufacturers to shrink front ends. But when rules changed, conventional-style trucks gained popularity, pushing cabovers into decline. The cruise liner was a forward-thinking masterpiece released during a transitional decade. Drivers adored the comfort improvements, but the industry wasn't ready to invest in such an advanced machine. As a result, the truck became an underappreciated icon of innovation. Number 4. Scania 141 series. The Scania 140 and 141 series were among the most advanced European trucks of the 1970s, introducing turbocharged V8 engines, superior fuel efficiency, impressive pulling power, and unmatched reliability. These trucks performed at a level that American long haulers of the time could only dream of. The V8 engine design was decades ahead of the competition, offering incredible torque at low revs, smoother acceleration, and better fuel economy, all while being more environmentally friendly. Yet the reason these trucks were too advanced is because the market, especially the US, wasn't ready for them. American fleets preferred big displacement inline-six engines, simple mechanical systems, and cheaper components. Scania's engineering precision required tight manufacturing tolerances and high-grade materials, which made the trucks more expensive. Parts were also harder to source outside Europe, making maintenance more difficult for small companies. Additionally, drivers in the 70s were not used to the European cabover style, which placed heavy emphasis on efficiency and modern engineering rather than brute force simplicity. Even in Europe, the Scania 141 was considered elite, a truck for companies that valued performance over cost. This limited its adoption despite its extraordinary abilities. The truck was a glimpse at the future of diesel engineering, but the trucking world of the 1970s still lived in the past. Number 5. Mercedes-Benz NG. New generation. The Mercedes-Benz NG series, released in 1973, was arguably the most forward-thinking heavy truck of the decade. It introduced features that would not become industry standards until the late 1990s and early 2000s. This included modular cab construction, improved aerodynamics, advanced braking systems, and enhanced driver comfort far beyond what competitors were offering. Mercedes pioneered multi-position adjustable seating, better noise reduction, and a refined dashboard design that put driver ergonomics first, long before human-centered design became a trend. Mechanically, the NG series was more advanced than almost anything on US highways at the time. Mercedes offered cleaner-burning engines, more efficient fuel systems, and an incredibly reliable drivetrain engineered with German precision. But this level of engineering came with a high price tag. Most fleets simply could not justify buying a truck that cost more upfront, even if it saved money over the long term. Reliability was excellent, but repairs required specialized knowledge and parts that many regions did not have access to. The biggest problem was that the NG series felt like it belonged to a later era. It looked sleeker, operated smoother, and drove more comfortably than trucks built during the 70s. But the trucking economy was tight, and buyers chose cheaper, simpler designs. The NG series was a technological masterpiece that the market wasn't ready to accept. Today, collectors and enthusiasts look back on it as one of the finest over-engineered trucks ever built. Number 6. Volvo F88. The Volvo F88 and later F89 were European masterpieces introduced during the early to mid-90s. They were designed around two principles that were far ahead of the industry: driver safety and mechanical reliability. Volvo understood that long-haul trucking was exhausting and dangerous, and they built a truck that prioritized structure, stability, and ergonomics decades before these ideas became global standards. With its reinforced cab, improved crumple zones, and high-strength steel frame, the F88-F89 provided a level of crash protection unheard of at the time. These were among the first trucks to consider how the cab would react in a rollover or frontal collision, a concept that the industry would not fully adopt until the 1990s and early 2000s. Mechanically, the F88 and F89 were exceptionally durable. Volvo's turbocharged diesel engines delivered outstanding fuel economy and torque at lower RPMs, allowing for smoother driving and longer engine life. But this refinement, this obsession with precision, also made the trucks expensive to build and difficult to maintain for fleets accustomed to simpler, cheaper machines. European trucking companies at the time often preferred robust and rugged designs that could be repaired with inexpensive parts. Volvo's trucks were the opposite, beautifully engineered but demanding to service. The biggest issue, however, was cost. The F88 were priced in a premium range that many firms simply could not justify, especially during the economically unstable 1970s oil crisis. Their advanced features, the very things that make them legendary today, were seen as unnecessary luxuries back then. The world was still stuck in an era where trucks were expected to suffer, not pamper drivers. Volvo's safety-first philosophy was revolutionary, but it arrived too early for an industry focused on cutting expenses. Today, drivers admire these trucks for their foresight, but at their launch, they were simply too modern to be appreciated. Number 7. Da F8800 Aerodyne. The DAF 2800, introduced in 1973, was one of Europe's earliest attempts at bringing aerodynamics, comfort, and high horsepower into a single long-distance trucking platform. With its bold space cab and later super space cab, it gave drivers living space far larger and more comfortable than anything available in the era. This was revolutionary at a time when most trucks forced drivers to sleep in cramped bunks or small sleepers with limited headroom. DAF believed that drivers deserved a home on wheels, an idea that was completely ahead of its time. The 2800 was also mechanically advanced. It featured turbocharged engines with excellent torque delivery, designed to pull heavy European freight with ease. The cab design reduced wind resistance, improving fuel efficiency before the industry cared much about aerodynamics. Drivers loved the quiet interior, the tall roof, and the large windows that improved visibility. But while the truck promised a better future, it suffered from being a decade too early. Many transport companies considered the DAF 2800 extravagant. Fleets hesitated to invest in a truck focused on driver comfort, because the industry had not yet recognized the importance of reducing fatigue or increasing driver satisfaction. Aerodynamics were misunderstood and undervalued. Fuel was cheap before the crisis, and old-school fleet managers believed boxy designs worked just fine. The advanced cabin also made maintenance more complex, and the new engine technologies required training that mechanics didn't have. As a result, the 2800 was respected, but not widely adopted until its later versions gained traction in the 1980s. Today, this truck is remembered as one of the pioneers of modern cab design, but in the mid-70s, it was too visionary for the trucking world. Number 8. Ford W-Series W9000. The Ford W-Series cabovers, particularly the W9000, were Ford's ambitious attempt to dominate the heavy-duty trucking market in the early 90s. With its sharp styling, improved aerodynamics, and advanced interior layout, the W9000 looked and felt more futuristic than many American trucks of its time. Ford put serious engineering effort into improving fuel economy, reducing weight, and enhancing driver comfort. The W-Series came with better insulation, a quieter cab, and more intuitive dashboard controls, innovations that would only become popular decades later. Ford also experimented with new manufacturing techniques, including lightweight materials and modular designs. Their aim was to build trucks that were not just strong, but also easier and cheaper to repair. Unfortunately, this innovation clashed with market realities. Like many advanced trucks of the 1970s, the W-Series suffered from being too different. Fleet owners were used to the big three truck makers, Kenworth, Peterbilt, and Freightliner, whose designs were rugged, familiar, and supported by massive parts networks. Ford's innovative system required new training, new tools, and new maintenance habits. Another problem was Ford's incomplete commitment to the heavy truck market. Unlike other manufacturers, Ford didn't push their semi-trucks as aggressively. Not having a strong nationwide support system scared buyers away, especially when the truck contained advanced features that required specialized servicing. Even though the W9000 was smoother, more aerodynamic, and more comfortable than many rivals, its early adoption was limited. In hindsight, Ford predicted the future of American trucking: aerodynamic design, lighter materials, and ergonomic cabins. But in the 1970s, the industry simply wasn't ready to embrace Ford's forward-thinking approach. The result was a truck that deserved success, but never received the recognition it earned. Number 9. MAN F8. The MAN F8 series, launched during the early to mid-1970s, was one of Germany's boldest engineering projects in the heavy truck segment. Like other European brands, MAN invested heavily in efficiency, reliability, and durability. But the F8 series went the extra mile. It introduced world-class diesel engines with excellent power-to-weight ratios, making them ideal for steep European terrain. Mack also focused on reducing driver fatigue by implementing better suspension systems, smoother transmissions, and improved cab ergonomics. The F8 had one of the earliest attempts at a modular cab design, allowing quicker repairs and easier replacement of damaged components. This concept, though standard today, was incredibly new in the 1970s, when most trucks were built as one-piece structures. Mack's goal was to reduce downtime and keep trucks running more efficiently for long-haul operations. The idea was brilliant, but the market didn't fully appreciate it yet. Another challenge was cost. Mack trucks were premium products, meant for companies that valued longevity over initial savings. But many trucking businesses in the 1970s struggled financially due to rising fuel prices and economic uncertainty. As a result, buyers often chose cheaper, simpler trucks that could be repaired anywhere, even if they offered worse long-term value. The advanced suspension systems and refined cab also required specialized mechanics, adding to the hesitation. Today, the Mack F8 is remembered as one of the trucks that transformed European long-haul transport. But during its own era, it was a technological overachiever stuck in a decade where buyers weren't ready for such forward-thinking engineering. Number 10. Renault Berliet TR300. The Renault Berliet TR300, introduced in the mid-1970s, was a French engineering marvel that brought together bold styling, advanced aerodynamics, and powerful V8 performance. The TR300 stood out immediately because of its futuristic cab shape, slanted, streamlined, and designed to cut through air resistance long before aerodynamic design became the industry standard. Its exterior alone made it look like a truck built for the 1990s, not the 1970s. But the TR300 wasn't just about looks. The truck featured a robust 300 horsepower V8 engine that delivered strong acceleration and exceptional hauling ability. It had one of the most comfortable interiors of its time, incorporating features to reduce vibration and improve the driver's experience on long journeys. Renault and Berliet engineers understood that trucking was evolving, and they made a genuine attempt to bring European truck comfort and technology to the forefront. However, the biggest reason the TR300 was too advanced is that it was built during a turbulent period in French trucking history. The merger between Renault and Berliet created uncertainty, and buyers hesitated to invest in a truck made by a company undergoing huge changes. The advanced V8 engine required more maintenance than fleets were comfortable with, and the aerodynamic cab, although impressive, increased the truck's production cost. The TR300 was a truck ahead of its time, fuel-efficient, stylish, and powerful. But the trucking market of the 1970s simply wasn't ready for such innovation. Today, collectors view it as a lost gem, a truck that represented the future, but arrived too early to shape it. These 10 trucks prove that innovation doesn't always mean immediate success. They were commercial failures that became mechanical legends, blueprints for every modern pickup rolling off assembly lines today. Which truck surprised you most? Drop your pick in the comments below. If you enjoyed this journey through automotive history, smash that like button and subscribe for more forgotten innovations that shaped our world. Next time, we're diving into muscle cars that Detroit tried to bury. You won't want to miss it.